Another thing I find really beneficial is, well, it's almost mandatory grass fishing, is getting the slack out of your line when you set the hook. These fish feel tighter than they are when they're down in that grass because they're usually, you know, you got your line going over some grass and down in it. And like slack setting a hook set is like the worst thing you can do here, because a lot of times, especially your bigger fish, they tend to swim out deeper when they eat it. So you flip in there, your bait drops down in through that milfoil, you pick up on it and it's just going. It feels like it's going away from you because your line's getting tighter, but it's just because your line's over and through milfoil and that fish is out swimming at you. And if you slack line a fish in that, basically all you're gonna do is maybe get your line tight at best, just because you have that big bow through the grass. So when I get a bite flipping, I'll usually take just a millisecond, and rather than just slack set and jerk on them, I like to really get down tight on them and, you know, pick up as much of that slack as I possibly can, just because anytime you're flipping grass, you're never, hardly ever gonna have a straight shot to that fish like you do in open water. He's gonna be somehow moved off in the grass, different from where your bait went in that hole. He's rarely just gonna sit right there. He's gonna go left, right, out at you, what have it. But either way, it's gonna feel tighter on your rod tip than it really truly is, just because your line's rubbing on that grass and whatnot. I lose the most fish when I think they're there and they're really here because they swam out at me, but my line feels tight because it's going through all that grass. So I really try to bear down on them and get as much of that slack out of there as I can when I go to set the hook. You know, if I feel a bite or feel one moving with it, I'll really wind down tight on them before I hit them, rather than, you know, snapping slack line. It just seems like the tighter you can get your line before you jerk, the better. And you don't need the world's biggest hook set. If you got all the slack out of your line, you can almost just ease back into them. But you know, it's something I've noticed throughout the years flipping grass. When I've missed fish, it's usually because they're not where I think they are when I set the hook. Like I said, your line feels tight. They're going away with it. They're taking line, but it's wrapped around a strand of grass or something. So there's really a big bow in your line that you can't tell. And if you've tried shaking them off out pre-fishing for a tournament, you know how long those fish will, you know, really sit there and hang on to your bait a lot of the times. I mean, sometimes they'll get weird and just kind of peck it and spit it out if they're real beat up, but a lot of times they're gonna grab your stuff and they're gonna hang on to it for quite a while, so you don't need a knee-jerk reaction crack when you feel one tug on it. You can definitely take just a half a second and get the rest of that slack out of your line. That's the thing I've noticed, especially older guys that, you know, grew up fishing straight mono and before braid and fluorocarbon and all that was around. You really see those guys just absolutely hammer on them. And with the rods we got today and the fluoro and the braid we have with such a limited stretch in it, you really do not have to set the hook as hard as everybody thinks. Even with a big jig or Texas rig, you do not have to you don't have to put all of it into it. I mean, I'm 150 pounds soaking wet and not strong at all. And I can definitely hit them plenty hard enough. So if you're a big dude, 250, 6-something foot tall, you do not have to put all you got into a hook set. You know, the rod actions are crisper, they're a lot faster than they used to be. Within the lack of stretching all the fishing lines nowadays, like really, if you can get that slack out of it, you can basically almost lean back like you would with a spinning rod on most of these fish. I mean, I still hit them, I enjoy hitting them, but when you start setting the hook really hard, especially if you do get the slack out of your line, set the hook really hard, that's when you start breaking lines and bending hooks and ripping skin in fish's mouths. So this is kind of a system for me. It works for me. Everything works different for different people. There's people that love straight shanking and 8-foot pool cues and 80-pound braid, but I land a lot of fish on just a 7-foot medium heavy with a fairly light rod and extra wide gap hook. With the exception, the only time I ever throw like a straight shank flipping hook is like heavy punching, like 1.5 ounce plus, super heavy. Then I feel like a straight shank is a better hook, just because it's usually really shallow for one, and two, super heavy cover. So that is the time and place you do need those big rods. But your average stuff, dock fishing, you know, your submerged grass, you really don't need all that to get the job done.